Yo, guys, we're back for our part 3. Isn't that right, Danny? Isn't that right?
Yeah,
So,
we're part three.
Recap of the year, man. Where are you at? Where are you at in sales and everything? Life, bro. Just catching up.
Dude, I tell you what. You remember, part two when I was telling you that. When did we record part two?
October, like right before,
Yeah.
right before Black Friday, because we were talking about quarter 4. We were lining up
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah. So I was telling you that I had like 7 or 8 products going into quarter 4, Q4, and that we're primed and geared for a pretty awesome Q4. And let me tell you what, Q4 did not disappoint. Did not disappoint. Here, let me show you some charts here.
Motherfucker sold out, man. Sold out. It's almost like I told him to get a little more. But it's okay. He already ordered more, but it just was... It sold out even. So, he sold out all the way. So, I think which was like a big turnover. Because at first, remember when we talked about in the first or second episode where you're like, man, dude, this is a rocky start. But now it's a smooth trail up.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it starts off, right? Like, you're in unknown waters, you're scared, like, you don't know if it's going to work. But once it starts gaining traction and it starts gaining momentum and starts snowballing, it starts to the snowball effect, then you realize, oh shit, this could actually work. And that's what's happening now. So hopefully in 2025 we set some goals and hopefully we can reach them and surpass them.
500K per year, 500K per year. We're already at 100K for a year of training, man, year of mentorship. But yeah, it's been a great journey. So he's about to pull it up. I don't know if you guys can see that from far away.
You can't see that.
They can see that. We're gonna leave it raw, bro. Yeah, just move it in a little further, just a little further. Yeah, there we go. There you guys go. Yeah, I think it's good.
Like up here somewhere, 115
Yeah.
for the year.
Yeah, 115 for the year. So he's already surpassed the 100K mark for what we have in mind for our first year of launch. Because at first I told him quarter 4, man, you either 5X or 10X. And one of his products, I won't name it. I won't name drop anything, but it started being your heavy carrier, right?
Yeah. So like I said, going into Q4, I have 7 or 8 products going into the quarter 4. Now, with this quarter 4, really opened my eyes to what are actually my big hitters and what aren't, which ones aren't. So probably in mid-January, early February, I'm probably going to be cutting 3 or 4 products out of this product line, and looking into more product research and possibly hitting or trying to launch probably 2 or 3 more big hitters. That way, in 2025, instead of 115, I'm getting 230, 250. Right? That's the goal, to double what I did in 2024, if not triple.
Yeah, and talk about what we had on the phone call where you're like, so you had the big goals, right? Like your 1 year mark, but like talk about like how you went from like the days like to keep you going, and then the week, the month. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think you should do this, just not with FBA, but like in life in general. Set long-term goals. What you see yourself in 5, 10 years, 5, 7 years, whatever, and then set shorter milestones, right? Because a lot of things can happen in 5 years. A lot of things. You can get undisciplined. You can kind of get burnt out, lose the motivation, lose the drive, right? Well, I like to set shorter term goals. So yes, I have a 5-year goal, but then I also have like a 3-year goal, a 1-year goal, a 6-month goal, right? And that's kind of the stuff that kind of keeps me going. Because yes, like I said in previous videos, there's times where, I want to quit. There's nights where I'm like, man, this is too much. I have too much on my plate. But then I start thinking, I can't complain that I have too much on my plate when I wanted to eat. You know what I mean? It's like I wanted this, so I shouldn't be. I'm blessed to have this, because most people aren't, blessed to have this type of, I don't know, busyness.
Opportunity.
So, yeah, opportunity. So when you do, it can be overwhelming at times. And believe me, I've been where you guys are probably at or have been, or we've been through the kind of the same path with, feeling overwhelmed, having high anxiety because you don't know what to do or which way to go, what direction to kind of move your goals to. But like I said, set shorter milestones, short-term goals, because then that way you can have something to focus on, right? Because like my 6 month goal for the next 6 months, right, going into 2025, is to maybe launch, to obviously cut out the fat, kill the 3 or 4 products that aren't necessarily making me doesn't have good margins, and then hopefully launching 1 or 2 bigger margin products within the next 6 months. That's my goal, and that's what I try and strive to do, and every day for the next 6 months. And then after 6 months, I'll reevaluate and see if I met that goal. If I didn't, then I'll do some adjustments and try to attain that goal.
I think that's what you guys need to realize as well. Like, take evaluation as like good opportunities to optimize things. Because, I mean, when he first started, the first few products, those held him up. Those gave him the sales and the velocity and the optimism that he needed to start continuing. And then until he finds a product that's like, this is what we need to focus on now because it's outpacing the rest. And at first, maybe those were good in the beginning, but now whereas we're reevaluating, he wants to hit bigger milestones per year, right? He doesn't want to keep hitting 100K per year as, that sounds great. But I mean, as any business would want, scaling, optimizing, like the next big milestone, the 200K mark, the 220s, 250, you want to hit bigger marks. And how do you do that? You have to trim the fat. Like, there are just parts where those products or those skill sets were useful at the time. Like, usually when you first start any business, you want to read books. You want to read as many books as you can or as much knowledge because you don't know it yet, right? Like, the things that every entrepreneur or everybody's going to say is, it takes time. Time is patience. Network is your net worth. You're going to hear that over and over and over. And then eventually it just becomes the part where, like, you're a year or two into business, and instead of just reading all these books, reading all these quotes over and over in your head, you're just executing now. At this point in his life, like, I'm not going to speak for him, like, personally all the way, but, like, as I've seen, like, from his nail salon, from the other video where he started 2 years ago, and it's just a step forward, right? Same thing here. He just took a step forward, and we did have days, again, in the videos prior that we spoke, so if you guys wanted to watch that, we went through, like, a couple of hiccups, but now it's just optimizing. Like, the only other parts now is to trim off on what he doesn't really need and then just scale and add on products that he does need. And some of my other mentees have talked to him, and it is relieving seeing, like, another peer-to-peer talk about it. So I think in life what keeps us going is like what he said. Like, in strides, as long as you can actually see progress through the day-to-day, through the week-to-week, and then to the month-to-month. It's the same thing as bodybuilding. Like, when you first start, in your first week, you're not going to see fat being trimmed. You're not going to get the six-pack. You're not going to see any of that. And it is depressing. Like, it is kind of sad where it's like, dang, I didn't see the growth that I wanted to. So, whether or not in his first 6 months he wasn't, like, he probably didn't see that 6 figures coming anyway, right? We're in the more like, phase of, like, just optimizing. But now that he's past it, look what he can do in the next extra 6 months that led up to now a full year, right?
Oh, yeah. Because, this full year has pretty much been, it's still going to be going forward, but it's been nothing but a learning curve. Like you said, there's a lot of things to do that you can kind of optimize, look at, trim the fat, look at ad spend, try to really maximize your margins. And that's what I'm gonna be focusing on, because obviously when I first started, I didn't know what was going on. So everything with numbers were through the roof, and this was that, and I was like, what is going on here?
Ad spend on the previous Black Friday, bro.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, that was nuts. So now that I kind of have a grasp of how to approach things, or how to approach certain days like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, Prime Day, stuff like that, I can kind of set up ahead of time and kind of be ready for those big sale days. It's just it's weird because most people they want to see results pretty instant, right? And it's just with anything in life, right? you want to get to the end result, but you also want to enjoy the journey, right? The like Kai said, day in day out stuff, the week after week stuff. Yeah, some of that stuff is just boring. It's a grind, and sometimes some weeks you won't see any movement. You're just gonna be stagnant. But don't let that discourage you, because if you compare, you know, these past 2 weeks versus the
first 2
previous,
weeks.
yeah, the previous 2 weeks, you're probably moving in the right direction. Whether it's 1% better, you're still getting better. Yes, I know 1% is really not that much, but it's those small wins. When you start accumulating small wins time and time again, week after week, day after day, those small wins start adding up. And then when you look at it from a broader perspective, like 6 months or a year, okay, yeah, like I said, I didn't think I was gonna hit six figures in sales this year. My goal this year in sales was probably maybe 60K, 60, 70K. And, I was like, okay, first full year in business, yeah, that should be okay, 60, 70K with margins being maybe 45, 50%.
We've doubled.
Yeah,
Nearly.
yeah.
Except you sold out.
Yeah, we doubled and we sold out. So yeah, that's kind of a good problem to have. So I guess, but that's what I mean. Like 6 months ago, I didn't think I was gonna be here.
You like
So
it goes back to saying, like, if you compare your first 6 months to your last 6 months right now, right, you'd be super like down on like your 6 months, because it's like, oh, I'm not really seeing much progress, but like it's still progress, right? But now comparing your 6 months for the final end of the year, it's gone exponentially, and that's how business is gonna go. Like there will be times where your graph of like progress is just like very slow, like, but it's not linear, because you're not working a normal job, you're not working like that static job where you go in, you do your mundane task or whatever, and then you get paid, and that's a linear graph, because you're always just going to get that 1 to 2% raise, or a certain amount for dollar amount raise, right? Whereas business is like let's say you open your nail salon, you get one customer every day consistently for the next 2 3 months, and that could be a little depressing, but like you have to think on the bright side, there's one customer coming in at least every day. What can you do better to get 2 to 3 to 4? And now I'm not saying like he only got one every day, but like statistically, like a visionary, like if you just had one every single day leading up for 3 months, that's kind of like it's still motivation, but it's not as like what you would have wanted, or like how you envisioned. And then your next 3 months, let's say you start bringing in 3 4 5 customers since you started tweaking things, or it just got word of mouth and you guys did good on every single customer that came in and out of there, and they gave you word of mouth, right? You never know. Like don't expect results. Like expectation, like don't have any expectations going into anything, and now you don't, right?
yeah, no, yeah, that's if I think yeah, Kai nailed it. Like if you don't have any expectations going into it, then you won't necessarily be disappointed if you don't hit that certain expectation that you set out for yourself. Some of it might be, just kind of unreasonable. It might be just an outrageous expectation that you just kind of dreamed up in your head. So yeah, like I said, don't go into something with expectations wholeheartedly. I mean, I know going to Amazon FBA. Yes, you set expectations, but don't go in and say, oh, once I start Amazon FBA, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna quit my 9 to 5. No, it doesn't work that way, because like you said, you saw the graph. 115 this year so far in sales. Profit margins is probably 57 to 60%. None of that came back into my pocket. I took all that and reinvested it back into the business. So, yes, you might say, I basically didn't make anything, but I know that reinvesting and putting that into more products, more inventory, more product research, stuff like that, it's eventually going to come back to me tenfold, whether it be in 2025, 26, whatever. But like I said, it's going to come back.
He essentially is reinvesting into his future. He has a kid, he has a wife, he has a stable job, has an already, a nail salon built in. So the fact that he's already reinvesting, think of that as like, you get your first tomato seed and you plant it and it finally ripes and you got tomatoes. You're not just going to eat all those tomatoes.
Yeah.
If you eat them all with no seeds left, then what do you have to grow? Like, you have to restart back to square one. What you do is pull as many seeds as you can and multiply it, compound interest. You might not see much right now because none of it's coming back into his pocket. But statistically, if he puts it back, he'll either get double or triple if we keep consistently always working on it. And as well as like some people have asked me like, how much time does it really take? Like next to none. Or you wake up that one time for pickleball when you call me, it's like, dude, I'm already $400 up.
Yeah, which is nice. So it's not just with Amazon FBA. I think this, applies to, you can apply to any aspect in life. How much effort you put into it is how much results you're going to get out of it.
Yes.
Right? Because like if you're only going in this, 10% of the time, only trying to do product research on the weekends because, you want to go out with your friends or do this and that, then, your results are going to show for it. Don't get me wrong. I understand everybody's busy, right? I work a 9 to 5. I have a nail salon and I have Amazon FBA and I have a 6-year-old. So, she keeps us on our toes. But, there's people out there that I've talked to that, they're going to school for their masters, working a 9 to 5, trying to do FBA. There's another one that, has a 9 to 5, but likes to work out. So he tries to fit, working out along with FBA. There's everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. It's just up to you how you want to spend yours. Now, if you want to go and do a 9 to 5 and then go hang out with your friends after work and party every night and drink, and then okay, sure. But like I said, eventually you're gonna come to a realization like, man, there's more to life than just this. There's more that I can be doing than just this.
I wish I would have invested in my time into myself.
Yeah.
Always. Like it eventually comes back to that. But like people also like to compare where it's like, dude, it looks like you guys don't do any work on Amazon because we did all the footwork, bro. In the beginning, he would call me constantly. Again, like in the first or second video when we talked about it, it'd be a constant progress because he didn't know what to really do. Now it's just more of like, okay, all these products are good. We're in stock. We're still good. We don't have to talk to suppliers. But everybody kind of thinks it's a passive, but it's more of a passive active. As long as you keep on top of like your stock and inventory on how much you have, as well as reviews and everything, it's pretty much like you just run maybe 2-3 hours of like a deep focus on like on a certain day for like ads spend, because ads you kind of let them run, which is where patience is a virtue. You can't keep adjusting your ads. You can't keep adjusting your listing every single minute of the day, every single 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Even though you don't see a sale in the next 10 minutes, you get discouraged. But then like in the next hour when you're shopping at Walmart or something, you make 10 sales. Just like you before, like you were sleeping, you woke up at 8 to go play pickleball, and you made all those sales. And he's like, "What the heck?" And then some other days it's like 1 or 2 in the beginning, and then later in the afternoon is when he makes all his sales. For us, it's more like just don't expect anything. It goes back to what it's saying. Like if you don't expect anything, then there's nothing to really gauge yourself on. But there's also the other side where you can just like aim for the moon and still hit the stars. So like have a unbelievably hard goal, but as long as you like kind of hit the middle way, that is still better than what your realistic goal would have been in the first place. Because like he said, he was aiming for 60, 70, and we kept going, optimizing, and now he hit 115, almost 120 now.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, the year's almost up, but hopefully we can hit 120 for the year. But like I said, like Kaz just said, aim for the moon and hopefully hit the stars. My 5-year goal is that, right? My 5-year goal is to eventually have me say that I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller, and if hopefully I might have a good brand that gets recognized by one of these big retailers, and they want to buy my brand. We'll see. But like I said, there's a lot of things that can happen in 5 years. That's my 5-year goal. Mm-hmm. But when you start breaking it down, like I said, in 2025, I want to double what I do in 2024, if not triple. And for the next 6 months, I have goals and plans in place to help me towards that goal. One, by trimming the fat, watching PPC, cutting out low profit margin products, and then doing product research and hopefully launching maybe 2 or 3 more higher profit margin products. So that way, next year I'll have maybe 4 or 5, less products than I did this year, but there'll be higher profit margin products.
The consistency at which they're also going to produce and the net, like
Yeah.
let's say like it goes back to quality over quantity, regardless, he has 8 products, but this one product is already outpacing maybe, I would like to say like 4 or 5 of his products. Like if he were to drop it and add another one, it would equate the same as what he would have already had, which also opens up more space and more inventory and like less storage fees that he's going to have to incur for different products, right? If he just mitigates all that and gets a higher end product, sure, he's at the point that he can do that though. Most people don't understand and they want to get like, get rich quick, right? They're like to where it is the higher ticket selling products again also reflect that you need more money for the initial wholesale cost of the product anyway. And then at first, I would not want to push that on him. So like we started on lower ended products, but now he's at the understanding of like, all right, how do I scale even more and more, like more margin and more money in my pocket? As any business at the end of the day, come on, like you got to make more money and like how to optimize it correctly. So we're at the point where it's like, okay, this product, is a little more costly, but the net margins itself versus the ad spend that you're going to have to do is a lot more ad spend that you're going to have to eat through to become negative. We're basically a net positive with this other product that already fully sold out. We still have more on the way, but that just goes to show, it's like you never know where you'll end up in life. Like him, like in a good way. We were gym buddies. He talked to me a year ago, and now he's a 6-figure seller. I'm a 7-figure seller. Like I got to get him to that level, but it's more or less like I don't ever look down on anybody because everybody's like as their first impressions. Like there's always room to grow. Even though he's older than me and he's still learning from me, I still learn things from him. Like because he's older, he's more wise in like just life itself. I'm still 12 years under him. So I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to live through. Like my frontal lobe isn't even updated yet. I got one more year. Well, maybe like 3 more months, but it's the fact that as long as you always have a student mindset and a learner's mindset, I think you'll always have room to grow. In terms of that, like 1% in any category, like it could just be curiosity. So now you learn like seals can like retract their necks, so like they're just big balls. Like it doesn't have to be meaningful, like gain, like transactionally or anything. As long as you've learned something new,
Knowledge gain.
yeah, knowledge gain, no matter what. Like as long as you have an open mind and it's like someone tells you something and have an open mind about it, and they're not like trying to straight up attack you. If they are, then disregard it. But like always have an open mind to what they say to you. It could be good open criticism that you probably could use. And he always goes to me and asks for advice for Amazon stuff, but then at the same time I go ask him for things about like, just real life relationships, all that things sometimes. I was going through it at some point. I had to ask him. I was like, man, dude, I hope I find my one at some point, bro. This is terrible, bro. I'm out here struggling. Like
He's not anymore though.
yeah, I'm happily taken. But that goes back to saying like this is probably a longer video, but I hope you guys enjoy it. But it's more like comparison is the killer of joy. If you compare someone's, like if he compared his 6 figures to my 7, he'd probably be like, damn, dude, I need to be doing more, but he's doing great. Like, I don't know if anyone's like said it personally to him, but I'm proud. I'm proud of all he's done. He's a father. I wouldn't know what that feels like yet, because that's another different spark that you have to take care of. There's a younger one depending on your success, your future, and that's the thing he's doing right now. Instead of like pulling out all that money that he could have and just spending it on a fun vacation or just things that wouldn't be relevant to growing the business, he's thinking of the future. He's thinking of his little 6-year-old kiddo, right? The future is to reinvest and keep going, and then by the time she's old enough, she can have and do whatever she wants, or maybe she can learn how to do business as well. But that's up to her and that's up to him. On how he wants her future to grow out to be. But if you don't already start creating a path for it and a garden for it, how can there be any fruits to grow out of it?
Yep. And like I said, there's been days where I have 0 sales, right? And it is super discouraging. 0 sales, ad spends, in the few $100s or whatever it is. I'm like, dude, what is going on? And I just want to just nuke everything, close everything. Okay, no one's buying anything. I'm gonna shut it all down. But then I say that in the heat of the moment, but then when I actually sit down and think about it, like, okay, well, 2 days with no sales, it sucks, but it's fine, because if I look at it in the last 7 days, well, day 1 and 2 already, sold so much that, okay, 2 days with no sales, it like even itself out. So I know, like you said, some other of his mentees are kind of going through a rough spot with suppliers, or just having motivation to just keep continuing. I tell you what, just keep on going. You're there. You're in it. You're in the nitty gritty, and that's what is going to get you forward. That's what's going to get you propelled forward. Because when you come out the other side, there's going to be so much more knowledge and information that you've gained going through it, and you can apply it now to pretty much everything. And I know we're talking about FBA, but you can apply it to your next FBA product, or the FBA launch that you're about to do, or whatever it is. Because now, like Kai said, we're all constantly bouncing ideas back and forth on each other with each other, and I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but I might be able to get a freight forwarder kind of in the lock, with shipping domestically here in the States, to Amazon distribution centers and stuff like that. Like I said, I haven't set it in stone yet, but that is just another way to save on costs, with international shipping, or whatever it is. Because once you look at it from a business aspect, you want to look at where most of your money is going, and then you want to try to optimize it and say, okay, why am I spending this much in this area? Why am I spending 20,000 in shipping? Okay, well, it's because this and that. Okay, well, if I could find this part cheaper, then it's going to save me 5,000, or it's going to save me 10,000. And I'm only spending 8,000 a month in shipping, or whatever it is. Those are just example numbers. I don't know if those are actually true, but I'm just throwing some numbers out there.
No, it brought up a good thing, bro. Like I also have like two of the mentees that are like, they're selling, but they're break even because of all the ads and all the startup costs that they initially had to start with. Like the die cut, the photos, the trademark branding. But that's where I tell them it's more like, if you zoom out and realize that product is actually selling. So now that is not the problem anymore. See, as long as you have consistent sales, the next thing to do is negotiate with suppliers, bring that cost down, or overall add more things and bundle it to make it more valuable, increasing the price itself. Now, if it wasn't selling, that'd be a different story. You know what I mean? Like, now it's not selling at all, so you have to spend more ads, more improvements for the product to stand out. So you have to zoom out and change your perspective on it. Like, if it's selling and you're break even because of all the startup costs, realize it is the startup cost.
That's great. Usually when you go into any type of business, like
you're negative.
The first couple years you'll be lucky to break even, right? I'm talking like the first 1 to 3 years you're lucky to break even. You're always going to be in the red the first few years, and if you're already breaking even now, that's great. Because like I said, that product is selling. Okay, so you're getting consistent sales. Now let's look at other aspects of why you're breaking even. Okay, well, is it because your advertising and marketing costs are too much? Okay, let's try to optimize that. Let's see what's your big money makers that are actually converting, and then increase those budgets, and look at the ones that are just spending and are just burning through your cash flow. Okay, let's either decrease the bid, or cut that keyword, and see if sometimes it's okay to cut a keyword that you think is relevant to your product, because if it's just burning through your capital, then it's not worth it. You know what I mean? If you have this keyword on advertising going for 2 or 3 months, and it's burning $300 or $400 a month, hey man, that's not gonna get sales.
Not gonna get sales.
Yeah, because if you think about it, in the last 3 months you spent almost $900 on this keyword, and it maybe got you 2 sales. Yeah, no, kick rocks. Like, next.
It goes back to everything, like bodybuilding. You could be having the same diet, the same workout, but if you're just using the same consistency and as the same momentum or strength that you're putting into week to week, and it's the same, then you're always you finally start plateauing, and you don't really see any more weight loss or any more strength gain. But here's the point where you need to optimize. Are you eating, if you're trying to bulk, are you eating more than you need to be? Like, you need to be eating more now, or where you're cutting, or let's say you're cutting, but you're just still eating the same amount. Whereas, to get to the next drop in pounds, you just gotta you're not burning more than you're eating. You gotta kind of optimize. But it's the same thing in his nail salon, or a 9 to 5, like how do you raise, your raise, like
Productivity.
n-
Your efficiency.
yes, your product, like your efficiency, but also like how do you get a pay raise? You work harder, you stand out, your boss sees it, they promote you, they see you want to be there. You're like just saying like if 9 to 5 is your thing, but eventually you need to figure out like be your own boss. You get to do whatever you want, but that has its pros and cons. On days like he said, he makes zero sales on some days. Some days I make lower than normal, and I'm like, what the heck. But it's like it's more or less like that's the life that we chose to. And it goes it goes hand in hand where it's like a nail salon where it's like most businesses are negative, man, and we're blessed to see like in our first years and stuff like that. Like also like my first year of mentorship's like been a positive turnover. Like imagine it was all negative. Like no one made sales, no one made nothing. Like Danny didn't even want to be on because he didn't make any sales. He'd be like, bro, this guy's terrible. You know what I mean? Like there would be no purpose of this video of like showcasing my 6-figure mentee. Like there's no point. Because then like I did a bad job. Like the business model, like I failed in teaching them well, or like I wasn't there for them or something, or like I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I navigated him towards the wrong direction, right? It goes hand in hand there. I had also responsibilities to train him to get him to that point. And if I didn't, and he just didn't know what the heck he was doing, it wouldn't end very well. It'd be like, dude, I'm just gonna stop, man. This ain't working. This is a money pit hole, like this is going nowhere. But we optimized, we figured it out. I was there with him, and this just goes in life with anything. Like his nail salon when he first opened it, like in the prior videos, they didn't know where it was gonna go. They didn't know how successful or how unsuccessful it was gonna be. But I think you just have the mindset of just do it, and doesn't have to be our business that we're talking about right now. Like there's many businesses, like as long as you feel a passion for it or you feel like it's something that you can pursue and actually maintain discipline for it, because motivation is just temporary. It's like a shot of like an energy drink. Motivation will always be there. It'll come and go. Discipline is where the days that you don't make any sales, you don't feel like doing it, and you don't feel like showing up and picking up the phone to be like, hey, yeah, we can set your appointment for nails today, like whatever. Like those are the days that you need to make count. You need to show up.
Oh yeah, doing the hard things is what counts. Like we've said before in previous videos, if it were easy, everybody would do it.
Everybody would do it.
Everybody would do it. And then it doesn't give you that satisfaction of knowing that you did it, right? Because everybody else is doing it. So, like I said, I mean, I had no expectations going into this Q4. I knew it was going to be a good one. I just didn't know how good.
I kept telling him, man, and that's the thing. I told him last year when we started this, like our first meeting or whatever, I'd be like, dude, Q4 is gonna be amazing for you. But as soon as we started getting closer to launch or whatever for that, so like his launch to now is like officially a year. So we launched right at the Q4. So I was like, bro, your ads are gonna be up. You don't have any sales ranking. You don't have any reviews. It was just not an ideal start. But then like when you now fast forward, like now he understands where because I know he probably felt it like 3 to 4 months in where it's like January, February, and March where it's like kind of stagnant. Like, sales are going, but it's like not as euphoric as you would have wanted it, right? I kept telling him, man, just wait till Q4, bro. Wait till Q4. Patience is a virtue. And then he finally hit it and he's like, what the heck, dude? I'm consistently making 1K sales every single day.
Oh, yeah. Like Kai said, yeah, Q4 there was a couple weeks where I was hitting 1K in sales, if not more, every day. And there would be times where, I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up at 8 in the morning. I had plans to go play pickleball. I just check my little app and, I'm freaking $400 or $500 in sales already. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a good start. It's only 8 a.m. All right. So, days like that make it worth it. Days like that make the long nights, the sleepless nights, staying up late, grinding, worth it. Makes it worth it.
Yeah, I think we'll cut the video here. One of us has to get up there and press the pause button, but I'm gonna leave it in the video so it's raw as hell, So.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna leave you guys with one thing. The guys everybody's that's going through it, whatever it is, if it's FBA, whatever your own side business, whatever, and you're going through it, you're unmotivated right now. Keep at it, right? We're rooting for you. You got it.
I'm rooting for you, man. Just do it.
Just keep on going. You'll eventually get out on the other side, and it'll be all worth it in the end. Keep on going.
Woo! All right, I'm gonna leave this in the video. So have fun. Yep. The